niner. Making contact at point 003.
Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm Ralph.
I'm James, and I nearly stepped on your toes.
Yeah. I think it's been a while. I think we're doing like data links where I was just like, you started. We did an Invincible pod, and I'm like, you start. Today we're discussing classic creatures, Return of the Jedi. I almost said Empire of Dreams because we're just talking about that. And today, hopefully, we'll be joined by Charlie Brigden, who actually picked this.
Yeah.
He picked this, and I haven't seen it. But before we get to any of that, because this is a regular show, I just want to remind everybody that in a week and a day, on May 25th, if you're listening to this audio podcast, we're doing the Data Link episode covering Empire Strikes Back, the NPR radio drama. So make sure you listen to that radio drama. I haven't started yet.
I haven't started yet. I went
today.
I went to go and start it on Monday night, but the site was down again. The Web Archive site was down again. Right. So literally, next time I get on there, I am going to do what you said and just download the files.
Just download it.
Because that site seems to be a little bit hit and miss.
Yeah, and then that'll be next week, May 25th,
Thursday,
Star Wars Day. At our regular time, guest will be Patrick Cotner.
Yeah, regular time. We think regular time.
Right, and then no, it's regular time. He said he'd be up for 7:30, so I'll double check. Just keep an eye on YouTube, and I'll let you know if things change. Secondly, you probably already noticed if you follow us on social, but this week we are the guests on Live Action Star Wars. Spoiler alert, we're doing it. Oh yeah. Live Action Star Wars.
We're Live Action Star Wars.
Yeah. On the Star Wars Minute. So we'll be there all week.
All week.
Week.
Yeah, it's been a busy day today. We had to do that, and then we're doing this. I
didn't even think to ask if we were gonna do a weekend show. I should ask.
Yeah,
I probably would have been up for it. It's a marathon recording, but I would have done it. It looks like Charlie is here. He may be audio only. Let me check here. Oh, I'm getting a spinning wheel.
Might be here.
Yeah.
He's on his way if he's not here yet.
Yes. Okay. There it is. Probably reset. Okay. That's fine. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
So go over and listen to Star Wars Minute. Thanks to Pete and Alex for inviting us.
Yeah.
It's a show that I wanted to do for a long time.
Me too.
I did, I think, a Patreon episode like 2 or 3 years ago, like pre-pandemic, where I had Tony Thaxton on, and I told Tony Thaxton, I'm like, I want to get in on Star Wars Minute by the time they do Solo for the shower scene.
We were close. We're one movie out.
We're pretty close. And I don't think I brought up the shower scene once during our episode, which is great because I talk about it way too much.
Yeah.
Rewatched Solo recently. It's so good.
It's great. It's great.
So good.
It was a show that I'd been looking forward to being on for a long, long time. Spoiler alert: this poster here is from minute 26, which is just after our week. So I was in the crowd. I was kind of there for that one as well. So little extra bit of Star Wars Minute.
Yeah. Let's say hey to the chat. Geek the F Out is here. Again, I made that logo. If anybody needs a logo, let me know.
Yep.
I could use the work at the moment. Adam's here.
Hey, Adam.
Yeah, we're excited for Charlie too. He just looks like he has some technical stuff to get through. Yeah. Lucha's behind the Lucha Johnny's behind the keyboard. So yeah, go check that out.
You said he's behind you. I was like, where?
No, just the stuff. So yeah, check that out. Right now they're talking Star Trek.
Okay.
So they're doing classic stuff. Jeremy Kelly's here. Yeah. I got a DM from Jeremy this week, and he's like, he says, I'm very excited to fire up my feed and see that live action Star Wars was on Star Wars Minute.
I surprised myself yesterday when I was listening.
It surprised me too. We recorded it a little bit ago.
Mm-hmm.
Before that minute 26 was recorded.
Yep.
And I've been listening to the episodes, and
Yeah,
it did
me too.
a quick episode or minute 21 comes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that comes up if you have been listening. We talk about how fast paced that film is, as I'm sure you're all aware.
Yeah. Speaking of fast paced, Jeremy Kelly says he was going to say that it's a quick listen for the Empire radio drama. It is only 10 episodes as opposed to 13. I believe. I keep thinking it might be 12. It's either 12 or 13. It's not 14. But so that's good to know. It's going to be a quick listen. So anybody who is interested in listening to that radio drama,
you got plenty of time.
You got plenty of time.
I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
Stevie says hi. She's in the other room. And she reminds everybody, make sure you hit the like button. Pretty pleased with the cherry on top. I guess, yeah. We
never ask, do we? We always just leave it.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, we don't really have any sort of paid content on live action Star Wars. If you want to get a shirt, you can get a shirt or a mug or a skateboard. I think we have. Go do that. It send us money and you get a thing in return. You don't have to. But probably the best way to support us really is the like and subscribe in the comments. Like
it weirdly is, isn't it? It's like, it's normally you hear people say that and you're like, meh, yeah, but I'm sure you'd like money. It's like, actually at the moment, just the numbers would be great. Right.
Yeah. We're like almost to 500. And our goal right now is just to get to 1,000. Yeah. Star Wars Minute has given us a little bit of a boost.
Cool.
I think
I saw a few people sort of adding me on Twitter and things this week, and I was like, "Oh, that's nice, Hey guys."
Right.
So I started talking about something else on Twitter, and I was like, I should really make this Star Warsy, otherwise these guys are gonna leave straight away. No one cares about what exercise I'm doing.
Right. And it's a little bit of a boost.
Yeah.
Okay. I got a message from Charlie. He says he can't get on.
Oh no.
I'm just gonna write him, so if you want to vamp for a little bit.
That's okay. Chat, has anyone else been playing Jedi Survivor? I literally, just before jumping on, I've just played for about an hour. I'm loving that game so much. Adam, I think you finished it already. I'm taking my time. I know some of the big sort of plot stuff already, spoiler wise, so I'm not too worried about spoilers. So I'm just taking my time and running through it. 90%. Wow, that's Adam. Have you been doing anything else? That's incredible. Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more later on.
Yeah. And I just want to say something. Speaking of quick, Jeremy Kelly says he was. Sorry, I'm getting all kinds of messages going on. Okay. He was saying it was a quick listen for the radio drama. Mm-hmm. But I mean, Jeremy Kelly also
that's a good point.
The entire Invincible in like 9 days. So, I mean, I'm taking that with a grain of salt. Listen, if it's anything like the first one, and it sounds like it is, because I kind of popped on the links that I sent you and the links that are in the description below on the episode. So go over there to find it. It sounded exactly the same.
Oh, great.
Like it's the same intro, like Star Wars, a radio, like that whole thing. Like it sounds exactly the same. Yes, it's Brock Peters is there. I made like I was just kind of like, it all sounded very the same. But it says Empire Strikes Back. Mm-hmm. And so like, I don't know if they just changed the title, like came in and read it, but it doesn't sound like a music or a sound edit. So it's I'm like, okay. Like I'm excited. I'm a little concerned about the Return of the Jedi one because
that's years and years later, isn't it?
Yeah, and the guy who was writing these had passed away, I believe. Maybe they were written. I'm not sure exactly how it went down, but But yeah, it's I can't wait.
I'm
gonna
really
start today.
curious. I'm really curious to see how it'll go because obviously in that first one, there were so many. It was different perspectives. So we were getting scenes that didn't exist, like in any form. They might have been in like the original, like Adventures of Luke Skywalker, the Star Wars script or something at some point. But
Yeah.
there's so much in that just doesn't exist on film at all. So I'm excited and curious to see if there'll be things like that in Empire and then maybe Jedi. I got a feeling there'll be less of it, but we'll see.
All right. Charlie's not going to make it. I
Okay.
asked him. He's having connectivity issues, which is totally fine. I
Yep,
asked him if he wants jump in the chat, and because we'd love to hear
his input,
his thoughts.
Yeah, and we'll work out another time. We'll get Charlie on a show properly.
Yeah,
later on, definitely.
But for those of you that have the Substack app, which I don't know if you, James, do you have it? You don't have a Substack. You have.
I'd use the tiny letter thing. Yeah. When I was trying to figure out a new place to put my writing, I was just like, that one looks all right. I don't know. Maybe I'll move it over to Substack at some point or whatever. Yeah, I haven't been writing.
That's where you can find. That's where you can find Charlie's writings. Also, anybody who's watched my Cue the Music soundtrack podcast show on YouTube at Cue the Music Podcast. Charlie's written, I believe, every single liner notes, or I guess it would be the notes on the Obi strip for every Toho release.
Awesome.
I don't think he did like Matango, but I could be wrong. So there he's in, and this is his Twitter, Instagram, and his socials are Films on Wax.
Go follow Charlie.
And I was excited because I was ready to just overtake this conversation with film score stuff, which I might still do.
And I was kind of anticipating in that as well. So I watched this documentary on Monday night. I didn't take any notes or anything. I watched it just on my phone. Cool. So I was thinking, great. I can sort of take a bit of a backseat. These guys are going to be talking film scores. I can jump in. But now I'm going to have to do some heavier lifting.
Yeah.
But feel free to jump in with any.
By the way, so Adam Frazier also has a Substack. And
I'm gonna have to have a look at it because it seems like it seems like the one that people seem to be using for that sort of content.
Right. And Charlie and Adam are the only two accounts I follow. That's how it worked. Great stuff. Charlie usually posts on Fridays about film score things, and he mentioned me in last week's article. And Adam's talking about all kinds of stuff beyond Star Wars. Yeah. He posted a thing last week about mental health, I believe. I don't want to.
Kevin Smith. Yeah, it was a link to the Kevin Smith video. It was a really, really good article that Adam wrote, and then it led me to that video, and I watched the video from Kevin Smith. Oh, and
I'd heard about the video, and I didn't know about much about what it was.
I'd heard about some of the stuff that he'd been going through, but I didn't know the details.
I'd sort of seen the headlines.
Mm-hmm.
And the tweets. I didn't really look into it because I'm like, I don't know, whatever. But then Adams had a very, very, very well thought out piece that I was interested in because it was a
complimentary piece to the Kevin Smith video. Yeah.
So check out Adam as well. I think it's Poppin' Pizza, or it might be at Adam Frazier. Adam could probably let us know in the thing. So I did take notes, and I will talk some score stuff.
Cool.
When it comes to classic creatures, Return of the Jedi.
You'd not seen this either, had you? This was your first time watching this one. Yeah, no. Same for me. For me. I thought it was fun. Like, what year did this come out?
Really enjoyed it. I think it was 83.
Okay.
Yeah, it's post Jedi for sure.
Yeah, but it's also post ET, which was, I thought ET
82.
Was oh, okay.
And Dark Crystal was 82, which I mean, I was super amped for because I love Dark Crystal.
Yeah.
Dark Crystal's like,
I love Jim Henson. I know. I love that, but Dark Crystal's just one that I was like, it's not for me. I think it's because of where I was in my life at the time when I first saw it.
Right. My recommendation is to watch the Netflix
really high
show.
And watch it. Okay. Oh yeah.
I mean, you can do that too.
Yeah.
Because what's great about the Netflix show is that it's a prequel.
Okay.
Yeah. Which at the time I was like, oh, I don't want to watch a prequel. What am I going to watch before the movie I like? And then what's fun
Who would
is
do
like the
that?
movie. The problem is, I think here's the problem: is the movie. It's kind of dense, and you have to like really pay attention to what's going on to understand any sort of the story. It's a little bit of a slog to get through. I know it puts Stevie to sleep, which wasn't into it. I would literally put on like a Saturday afternoon and like she'd be like out, and then I'd finish watching.
I mean,
it.
that also sounds like quite a good Saturday afternoon. So Stevie, nothing to be ashamed of.
Right. But then I put on the series,
Mhm.
and she really liked the series.
That's cool.
And when the series was done, she's
You
like,
went and watched.
let's pop on the movie. And the movie makes so much more sense. It's
Oh, okay,
so
that's
much
good.
easier to follow because it's giving you, now that you have all the backstory that they tried to cram in like the first 10 minutes of the movie. Now you get that
You've
backstory.
got it.
And yeah. But the
That's
thing is,
cool.
there's except for the ancient creatures,
Mhm.
there's no real main characters from, or the main character from the movie isn't in the show. So anybody's up, to get killed. And the stakes are good.
Is it set long before, or is it like just does it lead in?
Well, that's the thing. They were hoping for a season 2.
Okay.
But where they left it in a way where like they could have done another season or 2 and fleshed out the story more. Or if they didn't get a season 2, you'd be like, okay, this is good enough where you can get the rest of it. It would be like, it could be either Rogue One, or it could be like, but Rogue One kind of leads right into it. I feel like Rogue One, there could be months that have passed where Vader's tracking that ship, because Vader's not on a Star Destroyer. Vader,
he's on the Radis.
Yeah. So by the time he gets to his ship, to pursue the blockade runner, like that's not minutes.
They might have made a couple of jumps. Yeah.
So that's what it's like. It could happen right before, or it could happen down the line.
Unlike Andor, which we know season 2, they've announced recently that the last 3 episodes of that final act is going to be the last 3 days before Rogue One.
Let's say Andor ended where it ended.
Yeah.
There's no season 2 Andor.
Yeah.
That's the Dark Crystal show.
Could absolutely lead into where we see him in Rogue One. Yeah. I get it. Perfect.
So, and I don't think it's very long. It's very intriguing, and it's all. I believe it's something like only 10% CG.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And I don't think it's mostly probably like set extensions, but it's like all like puppets. So
I mean, we're going through Lost at the moment, so I don't know if I'm gonna get to it anytime soon. But like, it's nice having a recommendation from a couple of people that I trust recommendations of. So it's good.
Right.
I'll check it out maybe. Did you ever read Tale of Sand, the Jim Henson? It was nice graphic novel, nice hardback graphic novel. I've got it up there. It was an unproduced script of his. Like he'd shopped it around, and everyone was like, "It's too weird, too different." Not much in the way of Muppety characters. It was like human characters, but in a real hyper realistic, like really strange world. It's beautiful. I'm drawing a blank on the artist name. Bear with me 1 second. I'm going to grab it.
All right. So
who was it? Oh, it's Ramon Perez. Ramon Perez does the art. Who's been around forever. He's done a lot of work. And it's one of the most gorgeous hardbacks that I have. Like, it's just big splash pages like this. It's like there's very little dialogue in it. But it was just an unproduced Jim Henson script. So if anyone can find Tale of Sand, or if anyone wants it, Archaea put it out years ago now.
Get on it. Somebody turn that into a film.
And I think an animated series or an animated film would be really good for it. Like,
but if it's a Henson thing, I mean, the fact that they made Dark Crystal a show leads me to believe that someone has time and money to do this with puppets.
I mean, even that, like that's the inside cover. and it's just using like some stills and animating it over. I think that would be a great way of doing it. I love it. I love that book. I've read through that a few times.
Adam says the Dark Crystal Netflix series was so good and gorgeous, and it was definitely made a place from a place of love from the original. I mean, it's if you're not a fan of the original, it's going to be tough to dive into this, but because like, oh, I don't like Dark Crystal, but this is like a completely
I think I could go into it.
version.
Yeah, I think I could go into it completely raw. Which is
from the director of Fast 10.
Oh, is it Louis? Is it
Louis Leterrier?
Yeah,
yeah. The director of the Transporter films, I believe.
Transporter. Did he do?
And when I heard
Alien Resurrection?
No.
Mixing up. I'm mixing up my French directors.
but he did. Shoot, what did I was just gonna say? He did. Oh man,
Incredible Hulk.
Oh, the Hulk.
Yeah,
the Incredible Hulk. Yeah, with
the second MCU movie.
Right.
The Forgotten Stepchild, because it's not on Disney Plus and things like that. Yeah.
So Adam's Substack is Poppin' Pizza.
Cool.
So he said that was the guy who did Amelie. Oh, yeah, he did the Hulk. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that's my recommendation, Dark Crystal. I was so happy to see it. Because this was kind of about
the reason we're talking about all of this.
The Creatures of Return of the Jedi, but it was nice to see ET stuff. Again, I wish Charlie was here because a lot of footage from Destroy All Monsters, a Godzilla movie with a lot of monsters in it. A weird aspect ratio was like squashed.
Yeah, it really was.
But it was
things. There was a few things that had a sort of an odd aspect ratio on the footage that they showed for this.
Yeah, and another thing with the footage that they showed from the films is they didn't have the rights to the music, so you'd hear scenes from Return of the Jedi and these movies without the soundtracks
stripped out,
and it's a really different tone. It feels weird, like when R2 gets shot.
Yeah.
We know that John Williams is amazing,
but it was interesting as well because some of it did have the score in it, and it was other bits. It was a strange mix of.
There's like weird re-recordings too.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah.
So, Billy D. Williams saying the words "Salacious Crumb."
Salacious B. Crumb. He initials him as well. Like he puts in the B. He shows the respect.
I never thought I would hear that.
And just interacting with him, like they were scene partners for like all of Billy D's side of the hosting that he does, because it's this documentary is sort of hosted by Carrie Fisher and Billy D. Williams, never at the same time, but like she's narrating and hosting, and then he's narrating and hosting, and all of his stuff he's
talking about classic film creatures, and he's talking about Return of the Jedi specifically. If
I think there's a couple of moments where she hands it off to Star Wars, and then he might pick up, because she talks about strong women, and then it'll cut to Leia doing something, and then when it comes back from that, it'll be Billy D talking. Right. So, I was saying, I was a little apprehensive going into this because I thought it might just be a retread of Star Wars: The Jedi, and there was some stuff in there. But there was it's a time capsule.
Things I hadn't seen before.
Yeah. Like obviously they spend a lot of time on things like Jabba and Jabba's palace and stuff. But there's stuff from Jabba's palace that I had never seen.
No. No. And there's new shots of them constructing Jabba. A lot of new stuff of constructing Jabba. And I feel like Jabba
get an interview with each of the 4 guys inside him, which is cool.
Yeah.
Instead of just saying, "Hey, it took 4 people to operate it," it's like, who were they?
Yeah.
What in particular were they doing? It's all well and good seeing a cutaway image of it, but like actually hearing from them while they're in there is kind of cool.
What's crazy is the tail in this, when it's done, I think it looks better in this documentary. You get better close-up shots of the tail and how it moves, and when it lays down, it kind of droops and settles.
Yeah.
Which you don't see in the movie a lot. And I'm like, oh wow, like Jabba looks amazing.
Incredible.
Like when they're doing the big laughs and stuff, like you could really see the sort of skin on the belly, and I'm like, he might be too stoic in the movie, because in this he's really animated.
Yeah, they put a lot into it, and those puppeteers that were inside him were amazing. And I think the thing that it's obviously it's a puppeteering thing to manipulate the eyes, but the fact that George was insistent that the eyes be more, I mean, articulated for lack of a better word. Like the iris would change, and like every element of it, even like the bags under his eyes, the eyebrows, everything was movable. And then the puppeteers to go in and do that themselves, it does add so much life. It's stuff that we've seen for so many years now that we take it for granted, and then now we see CG characters, then we take that for granted. But to see this on a puppet, it's amazing. And yeah, as you said, the tail, everything about it, it's very, very good.
I don't mind CG at all.
I don't. No,
it's fun.
It's a great tool to be used, and it's like, yeah.
But seeing the shot of the close up of the eyes, I was like, how do they do that? I'm assuming it's just painting over like some sort of like epoxy or glass or something. But it looked like, I'm like, wow, that looks really good. Like I know he's silicone or whatever, foam, and
those
latex.
eyes look alive though.
But those eyes, they look so good. Oh, speaking of alive, and both me and Stevie noticed this, is when they were doing tests for Yoda and his ears were all bent and his mouth was just kind of open, it freaked me out. Like I've seen still pictures of Yoda, that's one thing. But to see him on set with Frank Oz puppeteering it, but not moving any of the facial stuff at all, it looked freaky.
It's really because we're so used to Yoda being this living creature.
It's a thing. It's a guy.
Yeah, he's a person. It's not a thing. It's a person. Yeah, it's spooky. And
I know there's something where like at Sesame Street, behind the scenes and stuff, they tend to put the Muppets in closets and stuff. Yeah. Whenever kids are like sort of on set. And there's no puppeteers. Like the puppeteer will always have the Muppet, and will always have it be looking around and being alive. Because as soon as my friend Mick, who did the music for the score for Mayhem, visited the set, and it's crazy that he would have a conversation with the puppeteer, but he would be staring at the Muppet they're holding, and the puppeteer would always just move the mouth because he realized, he's like, I know I'm talking to a person who's holding a puppet, but I can't not talk to this being. And he says, as soon as their arm slips out of it, it's like fucked up. They become a lifeless husk, and it's super off-putting. And just seeing that Yoda puppet not moving and with its ears all curled up, I was like, oh man, that's freaky. It's real freaky.
It's odd.
I don't care for it.
Odd. I noticed in Jabba's palace. I know that he'd been in there. I've seen stills of him, but I still don't think I've ever clocked him in the movie. I suppose he's been taken out now. But what's his name? Who's in the special edition Max Rebo band?
Joe Yowza.
That's the name. I've just got, there he is.
Yeah, they have him pinned up against a wall. I've always seen that. I've always seen them sticking him in the wall, which means he's some sort of puppet.
So I would need to go back and sort of look at it, like look around for him in the unspecialized edition. But like, I never did notice him. I thought he was a completely new creation, not someone that they'd plucked out of that creature shop sort of thing.
Yeah. And then the something I've never seen before, which freaked me out, was the construction and the different stages of the Ewoks.
Yeah.
Like seeing Ewok faces without fur was like straight out of like Terry Gilliam's
melted.
Brazil.
Yeah.
Like people, baby faces.
I thought that was really interesting when they're talking about, again, the eyes there, and everyone sort of was up in arms when the Ewoks started blinking in the DVD release in 2008. But George wanted them blinking then. It's like they just couldn't at the time. Like they tried. They
looked pretty good though.
Okay, but I mean, we didn't see it with a fully formed
No.
like thing.
Right.
So, but again, it's one of those things. It's like he just kept on trying to fix the things that he wanted to fix. Like, but those were some of those ideas that were there from the start.
I love seeing familiar faces. Tony Cox, I believe, is his name, who's in Willow, and he's been in a couple of movies.
Okay.
He's the elf
One of
guy
the other
in
guys,
Bad
yeah.
Santa.
Yeah.
And seeing that group of Ewoks and seeing little tiny 11-year-old
Little
Warwick in
Davis,
front,
yeah.
having the time of his life.
Kenny Baker was
I'm
there,
so
basically
glad.
coaching them all as well. Like,
right, because Kenny Baker was supposed to be Wicket, I believe, was supposed to be that role.
okay, makes
But
sense.
he got sick. If memory serves me, he got sick, and George had Warwick up front because Warwick's tongue was long enough to stick outside of the mouth, and it became more alive.
Yeah.
Man, thank God.
And
thank
also,
God.
when you look at everyone else, they're talking about how there was mailmen, salespersons, typist, all of these people, construction workers, like all of the people that were playing the Ewoks. It's like, well, Warwick Davis was 11. He didn't have a job, so he was totally malleable. Like, he probably took the best direction because he wasn't bringing anything else to it. Like, he's a kid who was obviously had a passion for acting, whether or not this was sort of what kicked it off or not. But like, he took to it.
He was a huge Star Wars fan. I've heard him tell this story, and his grandmother saw an ad in the paper for little people to be in the next Star Wars.
Perfect.
And he was fired up. The fact that it got to be Wicket is nuts.
Exactly.
An 11-year-old.
Yep. It's amazing.
You look at that Wicket performance. Like, I don't know how they had to how much they had to hold his hand, but like, based on the behind the scenes stuff on this, he was like, I'm in it.
He was taking direction. Again, I think it's having a scene partner like Carrie Fisher helps a lot because she seemed, and we've seen the shots of them hanging out beforehand, like, and behind the scenes and stuff. It's like,
they're adorable.
Yeah, it's so good because you've got a scene partner like that who's going to be understanding and is basically going to coach you through it during the scene. It's like, right, when I do this, you do this. And so, but he's 11 years old. Like, you see kids these days who give terrible performances. We were watching an episode of Lost last night, and I sort of turned to Liz. I was like, Malcolm David Kelly was really good, wasn't he? Like, he's great in that first season of Lost. He's so good. And you notice it, I think, when it's a really good child actor because they're not always the best. And it's not their fault that they're not the best. They're just inexperienced. But to see Warwick Davis knock it out of the park at such a young age,
he's great because he's a fan of Star Wars, but then he probably knows Carrie Fisher as Princess Leia first and foremost. Because when I was a kid, it was Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, and Princess Leia. I didn't, I knew Harrison Ford because he was also Indiana Jones, but for the most part, those other two, I had only seen him in that. And so,
Alec Guinness,
so for him,
Peter, everyone,
But for him, he's like he got to be, his role was playing against Princess Leia.
Princess Leia, yeah.
So it was, man, dude, when he walks up and does the sideways look, like, I don't know if that was Richard Marquand or George Lucas or him, whoever did that. Hey, you know how dogs, when they get curious, they put their heads to their side, do that. It's like, as soon as Wicket does that, you're like,
but it's just
I relate to this kind of.
It's all the little motions and everything that he does. Like, it's so perfect for it. And they talk about it in this, where it's like there is that naivety of human interaction because they're not used to it. So they're this primitive species. In like the words used in this documentary, that is what George wanted as what would topple the empire. But to see him absolutely take that on, it's like, it is an animalistic quality. He's a cute animal as opposed to a person, but he's got the sort of agency of someone humanoid. It's yeah. He's very good.
I love
very
very
good.
Sits down next to her on the log after she gives him the cookie or whatever it is. He just like sort of hops and lands his butt on the stump, and I was like, man, that's like, if it's probably
only a
tough.
Kid's doing that. Only a kid is doing that.
but it adds to like this sort of realism. Like I'm like, oh, that's just how the Ewok sits. It can't, it plops down on logs all the time, and it's something that it's like weird. I don't know, dude. I love the Ewoks. They're great, but Warwick is on like a whole nother level.
Yeah.
His performance is so good, and I know like he's sort of the main focus of the Ewoks, but I mean the rest are like Low Gray's kind of stoic, and Cheap Trippa and stuff. They're kind of just like they're adults, but
they're there.
Just like I don't.
We know them because they had.
I don't
toys.
think of Wicket as a kid. I think of Wicket more like as like a maybe teenager? In his 20s. Something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I always had him as sort of like a 13, 14-year-old.
But I mean, I'm basing it on the little tiny babies.
Yeah, yes, but yeah.
So it's and then you see the old guys like I don't know.
we don't know.
Anyway.
We don't know their age range.
Jeremy says he knows some people hate Ewoks. Never understood that. I kind of got it. I kind of went through a little bit of a phase. I liked Ewoks growing up. When I came out, I was 6.
Yeah.
It was. Well, I mean, we can if we were to equate it to Earth people and ages and stuff. It's been the Rise of Skywalker is how many years after Return of the Jedi? Like 35 or something.
Yeah,
say roughly 35.
Yeah.
And it looks like Wicket has a kid that's
Wicket age?
Probably not 30. Probably Wicket age.
Yeah. Wicket age. So if he's like
he would be like 40.
If he's sort of 40, 45, somewhere around there, and then his kid is maybe like
20.
10. No, kid's not 20. You think that this is Wicket out? Like he's stumbling home after a wild Saturday night out when he comes across Princess Leia.
Okay, so here, let's do this. We can either, if Adam has timelines, so he knows how long ago it is. Maybe you can look at timelines to see how Wicket is somehow, or how. I don't know. I feel like it's probably in.
I don't think there's a little
visual dictionary
Wicket
somewhere.
Warwick was born.
Okay, let's put this out. We'll send a tweet to Pablo Hidalgo and just say, how old is Wicket in Return of the Jedi?
Okay.
So
I'm gonna see what I can find if there's anything on Wikipedia.
Okay.
In universe information, full name Wicket Wistry Warwick. No age.
Okay.
His spouse's name is on here though. Knisa.
Oh.
And
that's the one with the pink? She's in the animated show.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. And Pommet Wicket is his son.
Yeah, she's the Princess Knisa. She's or it's probably Nisa.
Yeah,
she's a white Ewok with like a pink headdress. She's been showing up. She's been showing up in merch lately. I think on May the 4th. I don't know why, but they released images of Black Series stuff, and I believe Nisa is one of them.
Okay, cool.
I mean, I can go look that up.
I'm just trying to find her on here now. Oh yeah, no, Princess Nisa. Yeah. Young daughter of Chief Chirper. Oh, she's Chief Chirper's. Oh wow. Oh, Wicket married.
Of course, because they all have to be. Well, I guess they're in the same village. It makes sense.
They're in the same village, yeah. But I mean, he did well. He married the chief's daughter. Probably makes sense why he would be like new chief if Chirper didn't have a son. Because we can assume that Wicket is the chief come Rise of Skywalker, right?
Right. This is the Black Series that I believe was just announced.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, that's her.
Yep.
And she's showing up in a lot of merch, which is great. I mean, if you're going to have the show on Disney Plus, but like on Loungefly backpacks and stuff at the park. Cool.
There you go.
It's from this. It's from this show.
That one
from this show.
It's good. It's a good phone.
Should get another one and paint this in Nisa colors. Actually, I wonder if this coin.
Then you could have them like one side of the bed each, one for you and one for Stevie.
I wish it was a functioning phone.
Yeah.
I should hook up some
I'm
sort
sure
of
you could.
Bluetooth thing.
I'm sure you could sort of gut it and put a real phone in there.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I could totally do that.
Who uses a landline though?
Nobody. I'd have to buy a landline in order
Yeah.
to do that. I was thinking of just making it a Bluetooth thing.
Okay, yeah. We're way off.
Right.
What else?
I was going to say
really interesting. One thing that I found really interesting was the fact that they refer to Rancor as Rancor, not our Rancor or the Rancor. And the same with Sarlacc. It's Sarlacc. It's
his name
of the Long Island Sarlaccs. You know, it's like.
Can I tell you? I miss the old Sarlacc.
Yeah,
it looks so cool.
It was fun seeing it again. Just
and I gotta say, I think that it was, as much as we talk about the Return of the Jedi Special Edition with Anakin being put in there with Hayden Christensen and us kind of turning a corner and saying, yeah, he's more Anakin than Sebastian Shaw. I think that I don't like the mouth.
Okay, you've come around on anti-beak.
Yeah, I'm against the beak because I feel like the beak defined like it as a very specific creature, whereas the hole in the ground
left it up to the
imagination. You don't know what's in that hole.
Yeah,
you don't know what's down in there, and so as a kid, it scared me because I mean, it all had there was the teeth. Okay.
Yeah.
So Adam says that Wicket is 42 in
42.
The Rise of Skywalker.
And
roughly 12 in Return of the Jedi. So they're keeping him as kind of the right age.
He's
if
roughly
Warwick shot it when he was 11, it came out when he was 12.
Yeah.
So
it's around there. Makes sense. I'm happy with those.
All right. So we're just going to go with Ewoks have the same sort of life trajectory as humans.
Yeah. I feel like unless it's specified, that's always a good bet to go with.
Yeah. We started getting a lot of footage from the packing up of the creatures from Star Wars: The Jedi.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, I've seen all this stuff, but there was an additional scene shot at Pan Am front desk.
Yeah,
and them like going into the thing, which I'd never seen that footage before.
When did Pan Am go out of business? What year was it that Pan Am went away? No, they would have been around mid 80s, weren't they? Because like, what year was Blade Runner? Blade Runner was 81, 80, 82.
Also 82.
Okay. Yeah. So
because 82 is a big year.
Yeah, it's a huge
Dark
year.
Crystal, E.T., Tron, Blade Runner, Night Shift, Conan the Barbarian, Rocky 3, Wrath of Khan. Wow. Oh man, I'm missing some. I know it, but like 1982 is
huge.
Nuts.
Yeah,
it's nuts. Yeah, Blade Runner. Megaforce.
Big year. Yes, but I mean, it couldn't have been too long after that. It wasn't around by the 90s, so
right.
It's fun seeing that. I don't know. Like I saw that they got a thanks in the credits for transportation provided by Pan Am.
You know what? I bet you that shipping stuff to the UK is not cheap.
No.
And vice versa, because they had to probably send that stuff back. And they were like, I mean, if we're to believe this documentary, all those crates actually did get shipped there, because we've seen that footage of the crates and the monsters. It could have been like Jabba's Palace has a shitload of creatures.
It is incredible that they built them in the States and then shipped them instead of just building them over here. Like it's wild.
So I bet you anything Pan Am's like, Star Wars is the biggest thing. Hey, we ship with us.
It'll be on our dime.
If you shoot some Star Wars guys with us for Pan Am, that's probably footage that Pan Am used.
Absolutely, it looked like
commercial use or for sponsorships or for some sort of like training film or anything. They were like, let us use these creatures and we'll cut you a deal on shipping. I guarantee you, because it was definitely every single shot of the airplane of the front desk. Pan Am was perfectly framed.
Yeah.
So it was probably a deal between Lucasfilm and Pan Am.
It felt like it.
which
That
totally
footage that we
makes sense.
saw very, very much felt like advertising footage.
But it's so great. It's like
that
made
they'd
me
have it as
feel like,
B-roll,
Pan Am's
like,
cool.
and they'd be able to have used that for years and years to come if they'd
Yeah.
survived. And like when you're getting to the airport terminal, this and this and this, and oh look, there's Chewie. Yeah.
So
Probably
Yeah.
not the best business decision on Pan America.
I mean, hey, you're gonna have a plane going to the UK. Stick some Star Wars crates on it.
Yeah.
It's a good. I think it's a good deal. I think it's a good deal for both parties.
Yep, and they're both successful to this day.
Hey, man, that's not Lucasfilm's fault.
No, not at all. Savvy businessman.
Can you imagine if that plane crashed?
I mean, Jabba's palace would look a lot more human.
What do you think they would do if they all of a sudden lost all their creatures for Jabba's palace? First and foremost, start reworking Jabba.
Yeah,
maybe you do the more human version.
Exactly.
Just put him in a canteen, like put him in a canteen, or put him like in.
Yeah, they've got the set.
Cave.
Like you just put him back on that throne that they had, like for the maquette that they'd knocked up. You have a more simple suit.
So okay, amazing. That happens. That happens. 1997 comes around, and George Lucas is like, I finally get to do Jabba's palace like it was meant to, but it's all 1997 Joe Yowza CG guys. And those three, and the Rhodian dancer, and
I don't know.
It would be interesting to see Jabba like as a almost like a Saw Gerrera type, like just in a small cave.
Yeah. That would be interesting. Adam mentioned that. Yeah, probably reusing and repainting the hands and masks from the cantina. That sounds like the most likely. I think. Yeah, just a lot of those aliens again. Not many more.
Whoever's still around.
Exactly, and hasn't disintegrated in the last 5 years.
Dress up a Yoda. You dress up a Yoda to make a different.
Turn the mask inside out. All that sort of thing. Like
hairless Ewoks.
Yeah, whatever you can. 50 Rodians.
That's great. That'd be. I mean, I can't even imagine that. That would be.
It would be weird to think. Yeah, and I like
all of those on one plane.
The other designs for Jabba were interesting. I quite liked those. It was fun seeing
the real slug one.
The real slug one, but with the tentacles, reminded me of what's her name, Lady Proxima from Solo, but like a fatter version, but like still with the arms.
It's funny because Phil Tippett designed that one, and George Lucas was like, "No, that's a little too much." And
it's like we talked about it at length with Light and Magic, but hearing Phil talk about what George said is always there's almost an antagonistic feel to it, but like he's my boss, but we're great, we get on, we're fine, we're friends, but he won't let me do the cool weird shit that I want to do.
Right. And you could tell. And just like I was telling Stevie last night, George Lucas's sort of sense of humor, and he's sort of like a wholesome kind of giggly sense of humor. And then Phil Tippett's sort of really dry curmudgeon. I don't know how they were able to work together. I think maybe it's a yin yang thing.
Yeah,
where they just sort of one. Yeah, George didn't have that side to him.
George isn't dark. Maybe there's no brooding about George.
George can probably tone down Phil Tippett stuff clearly with the design of the Jabbas, and then Phil Tippett could probably get George Lucas to get a little more crazy.
He'll iterate until it gets just to the level that George is accepting, which is like the top end of what George will want.
I feel
and then
like
they'll go in and slather on loads of goo onto him anyway to make him even more gross.
I feel like Jabba's the perfect Lucas Phil Tippett collaboration, because George would be like, "Oh, something gross like slugs," and then Phil Tippett's like, "Well, it needs to be a gross monster."
I think George was thinking something gross like Marlon Brando.
Yeah.
He's horrible.
He was trying
Let's
not
put
to say
Marlon-
fat. He was
He
trying not
was.
to say
He's
fat, but we knew
dancing
he was
around it.
saying,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
He's like,
but I
the
mean-
sultans, the fat sultans.
he was really hung up on sultans, wasn't he?
Yeah.
I love old George interviews. They're great.
But I mean, that's where like George probably said sultans a million times, and so they gave him a hookah because he had a
Yeah.
hookah in 2 of the designs,
Yeah.
and it's just like, you're like a sultan, like a fat sultan on the.
But we've
and it's
seen
like, but
George in the way that he goes through designs. He'll be like, I like this element of it. And so when they got the chair with that had the hookah on it, it was like, yeah, cool. I like this element of this design, but let's
Yeah.
make it a bit more wormy. I like the sort of the shape of the other guy, but just not the way it was designed. So it
Yeah.
did feel like
And-
a good mix of the two.
Yeah, and with the pillows and the armrest and the hookah, it feels like a sultan. Like it's
Yeah.
got that kind of a feel.
Jeremy,
Anna
yeah,
just mentioned. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Jeremy Kelly mentions here, there's a whole lot of cinema that's been done by people who worked on Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I think more so than any of the others, probably because by that point, Lucasfilm was a more of established place.
Yeah.
And so the guys who were coming up, either
Yeah.
they'd been trained up through the Lucasfilm sort of system, or they'd come into Lucasfilm. And then they've gone on to be, your David Finchers, your Joe Johnstons, your everyone else. Like loads of people worked on Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, yeah. And by this point, they had already done E.T. and Close Encounters.
Yeah.
Raiders.
They
all
weren't
that
just
stuff.
making Star Wars.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. And yeah, because this is a jumping off point. Once Star Wars is done, they kind of all moved on. Speaking of moving on, Loptinek was written by John Williams and his son Joseph. I always thought it was all written by Joseph Williams.
Okay. I only knew that through you, so I think I probably just
So it's the
thought that
lyrics
as well.
were written by Joseph Williams.
But the music was Joe Johnston.
It was John Williams.
It was not John Williams, yeah.
Yeah. So that's good to know. And
Loved
again,
hearing
we
it
hear
again.
the English version.
Yeah, we've heard it a few times in other documentaries and stuff. But
Yeah,
it's,
and I feel like the English version is somewhere online.
probably
It's available somewhere.
hearing
And I
it
know
again.
the Huttese radio version is also available out there because I was
Okay,
on the
cool.
big box set.
Yeah.
The trilogy box set.
The radio
It's
edit.
Yeah, I need to find the English version. The lyrics are really funny. They're like,
Oh yeah,
it's like for like a fitness routine or something,
yeah. it's
or
something
sex.
like
I don't know. It's something like that.
that. Eh,
But
it was
again,
83.
I always like
what was
to
the
point
difference?
out. Yeah, I also like to point out that Joseph Williams went on to be the singing voice of Simba, the adult
Yep.
Simba in Lion King, and wrote and performed the theme to the Gummy Bears.
Yeah, he was also in what band was he in?
Oh shit, that's right. Is it?
not Aha,
It's like Toto.
It's Toho. Yeah, Toto. Yeah, he's in Toto. Yeah, I don't think he was a primary songwriter or anything. I don't think he wrote Africa,
Also-
but like, yeah, he was in Toto.
Also in Toto was James Newton Howard, the
Oh, really?
composer of the music for Light and Magic.
Yeah. I mean, it all comes together. I didn't
Yeah,
realize
it all
that.
comes
I didn't realize that James Newton Howard was in Toto.
Yeah. And
That's
not
crazy.
only is he in Toto, he's like on tour. Like he posted a picture recently of them backstage. But
That's
James
amazing.
Newton Howard also a piano dude, was a huge collaborative career with Elton John.
Huh? Okay.
Like James, yeah, yeah. As soon as you mentioned that he was in Toto, Stevie knows
Yeah.
as well. She got a Toto album. We're on the way
Looking at
back,
the
and I was
liner notes.
looking at the back of the thing, and there was his name. I'm like, that's cool. Open it up, and there's a bunch of pictures of the band, and I'm like, oh, there he is. That's so
amazing.
weird. Newton Howard had this whole career in the 70s and 80s before he started doing film score, and I think
But, I mean, a
big-
lot of them did. Like a lot of like you think about Danny Elfman and stuff like that. Like all of these guys,
yeah.
they're musicians.
Hans Zimmer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like his name is like you eating a lemon.
I'd rather eat a lemon. I love lemons.
That's great.
If life hands you lemons,
Don't
better
listen
than
to
Hans Zimmer.
Hans Zimmer. Oh,
I was watching No Time to Die. I've been kind of watching it in segments because it's super long.
yeah.
It's such a good movie. It's so
Yeah, it's really
watchable.
good. I really enjoy
I
it.
think it's my second favorite
Wow.
Daniel Craig James Bond movie, after Casino Royale.
Mhm.
But Hans Zimmer's score, so fucking all over the place. It drives me. I was fine with it. Because here's the thing: I don't like the guy
Yeah.
at all.
No.
And then I could talk about it on this show and not cue the music because I like to be somewhat civilized. And I know we try to be positive here, but
He hasn't done a Star Wars. We don't need to worry about it.
dude, listen, man, listen. It's the one reason I'm okay with Rogue Squadron not happening so soon, because Patty Jenkins used Hans Zimmer for her last movie, Wonder Woman 84, and the score is atrocious.
It's not the only thing that's atrocious about that film.
No, not at all. But it just like I was like, oh my god, I can't even imagine a Star Wars score by Hans Zimmer. I can't. It hurts me. It hurts me. Jeremy Kelly loves Toto. There's a lot of Toto talk going on in the in the chat. I guess what I get.
I think Toto are one of those bands. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have much to say about the documentary. I really enjoyed it. It's a nice and quick, easy watch.
Yeah.
You get a lot of fun stuff. I enjoy the sort of two-part narration. So
you don't get that anymore. Like, you might get a two-hander, but it'll be two people at the same time. But this was
I would love some sort of supercut with this and from Star Wars: The Jedi. So get Mark Hamill in there too, and do like ultimate creatures of Return of the Jedi thing. Jeremy Kelly says he plays Africa every time he teaches about African history in his class. Perfect.
Great. And then maybe the Warwick Davis one as well, where like it's the Ewok story, like so it's little Warwick Davis.
That's not like available.
It's not, but like I've seen so many clips from it. It's I know that it exists. I know that it existed at some point, but like I've never seen it. Not in its entirety. But like it would be nice again, a supercut of Star Wars: The Jedi, this, that, because then you've got like Mark Hamill, Warwick Davis, Carrie Fisher, Billy D. Williams. You're never going to get Harrison Ford in the 80s talking Star Wars. But, you know, it's a fun way of showing a behind the scenes hosted by all of them.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It'd be really cool.
All right. Do you have to go to work? Are you?
No, I'm free and breezy today.
I was afraid I'd have to like get you out of here.
Nah, I'm all good.
I
can't think of anything else from the doc that.
If for some reason you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's good. It's in the notes for this episode. So yeah, just hit the link, go give it a watch. It's 45 minutes, 45 to an hour, or something like that.
I think it made me pop Return of the Jedi ahead of Solo again for me.
Okay. Yeah.
Just because like just watching that stuff, like I was never a big fan of the Jabba Palace stuff. I felt like it kind of meandered. The plan never made sense. It's like, okay, now this character's introduced. Now this character, like they should have just come in guns blazing. Well, maybe send C-3PO and R2 in to negotiate, and once that happens, boom, Princess Leia, Chewbacca, Luke, and Wedge and Lando,
Lando's already in. Lando's like
but Chewbacca should have already been in.
Yeah, I like Lando infiltrating. I think that's
Lando should have brought in Chewbacca.
Okay, yeah,
because that's where we left off. Mm-hmm. But wouldn't it have been great if it was a complete total raid? Like they all the rebels come in,
a ground battle.
It's a smash and grab. They grab Han, get him on the Falcon, and thaw him out in the Falcon.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be fun. Yeah, I've like the Jabba's Palace stuff has never been. It's funny because so many people say that that's the best part of the movie, and then it goes downhill once they leave Jabba's Palace. I'm the complete opposite. For me, the movie picks up when the rebel briefing, and then on the way to it.
Star Wars is my favorite movie. I think Empire is the best one. My favorite Star Wars stuff. My absolute top Star Wars thing is the Luke Vader Emperor.
Oh, it's incredible
stuff. It's
Yeah.
so good.
It,
I love Jedi Luke. Watching him take out people on Jabba's skiff
yep.
or Jabba's sail barge with the green lightsaber. I'm just like,
I
this is
like
my favorite Luke.
I
This is my
I
favorite
like
Luke.
seeing him struggle in that fight. Like he dabbles, like he leans dark and then he overcomes it. That's him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. He is fallible and he continues to be fallible. That's not a one-stop thing. Like he continues to be fallible, which is good because that is real. That is a good character.
And yeah, I
Um,
love the Ewoks.
I think they're
I
great.
loved them when I was a kid. There
Yeah,
was a time when I became a teenager where I'm like, I don't know. I get it. I'm like, this is kind of kid stuff, but
yeah.
when you're a teenager,
I
everything
mean,
you
when I
liked
was
was kid stuff. But
that's it. When I was a teenager, like people were complaining about the prequels, so Ewoks sort of got a pass.
yeah,
So like people were complaining about Jar Jar and then Episode 2 dialogue, and so I was just like, no one was thinking about Ewoks, so I was just like, they're fine. I don't have any problems with Ewoks.
right. And like
Yeah.
speaking of Kevin Smith, when I saw Clerks in my late teens, early 20s,
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, this is really funny because no one else is talking about Star Wars, and I'm like, I'm like, he makes some good points. Like all Jedi had was a bunch of Muppets. But then you watch this documentary and you're like, you know what? Those Muppets are all kind of cool looking.
Yeah, yeah.
They're really cool looking. So it's gone from me enjoying them as a kid to me being like, that's kid puppets or kid stuff to I appreciate the craft. And
So
it's
you're more of a
really well
Randall
done.
guy than Dante. But I mean, no, because you're thinking.
Yeah.
I mean, it's favorite and not best, isn't it? Because like I have the same thing where it's like I think Empire's the best of the three, but Star Wars is my favorite of the three.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But just watching this, it made me want to watch Return of the Jedi. I'll probably bump it back up to my number 3 spot.
It was fun watching this like a week or 2 weeks after going to see it at the theaters again. It's nice.
Yeah. And plus it's new content. We hadn't seen it before.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
So
we should probably find some more content to talk about in 2 weeks' time, shouldn't we?
Yeah, that's all you.
That is my thing. We've been quite documentary heavy, so let's not do a documentary. Couple of options. We could do something.
I don't want any decision. It feels like it's been forever since you had a pick.
I've got a couple of decisions. I could either pick a movie and we could watch a movie, or I could do something super easy breezy and we could just it would really be just vibes, man.
Days. Those easy breezy days are so great. This was pretty easy.
Let me have a look at my calendar. Am I going to be working? Because that will determine it, I think.
So if you work, it's not going to be the movie.
If I'm at work, we won't do the movie. So that is going to be Wednesday the 31st, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm so excited. I think I know what the movie is.
All right. I've got work that day, so we won't do a movie. We won't do a movie. Let's do the easiest of easy breezes. I'm going to combine 2 things from our list. Let's do. Oh, what should I
do? It.
All right,
I'll just have to try to figure out the artwork. I'll have to decide.
Okay. Let's do Star Wars biomes and the Star Wars vehicle fly-throughs.
Wow. Okay, that's gonna be let's do that.
That's the easiest, breeziest thing I could find on there.
Right. That's gonna
that is literally a just vibes, man.
Tough discussion.
Yeah, but I figured we could just have them and look at them and go, "Isn't this an amazing screensaver?"
I'm gonna see. You know what? I mean, here, not to we'll figure out a way to fill the hour. But I feel like it's gonna be a conversation about like things like of everything we've seen. What ship do we want to have? What planet do we want to be on? What looks like? Discuss like the ins and outs in each of these things. And I think we should bring a guest on. I'm gonna see if we can't find somebody. Somebody to join us.
That'd be nice.
Just to talk about.
And it involves a guest, and it can be more about the guest as well. Then just having that as a background thing. It's. I mean, we'll talk about it in a couple of weeks, but it's something that I wish that they'd update. I think don't need to do a volume 2 or whatever. Just have them have them exist, and then just sporadically when they've got a new thing, just update them with something different, something new. But we'll talk about all of that. I watched them all.
I'm kind of excited about that. It's kind of a blank slate. It really is.
So, and that's the reason I've never picked it, because like we've had them on there since we started this list.
I think because we started around the time they popped up too.
Yeah.
When we created the list,
they're great. They're really good.
And do us a favor. If you're ever at live action Star Wars liveactionsw.com, look at our list. We have a big long list of stuff. If there's something you don't see on there that you think should be on there, let us know, because this one that we did today was on our list, our personal behind the scenes list, that didn't make it over to our public list.
Yep.
And so when I sent the list to Charlie, that wasn't on there. And so I actually added it. So let us know if we're missing anything on there that you'd like us to talk about.
I'm just looking through our personal list at the moment and sort of striking through ones that I know that we've already done. Because we hadn't updated this in a while. And I'm like, yeah, we've done this. We've definitely done this. I'm pretty sure we've done this.
It's because we have episodes of like Andor and Obi-Wan.
We don't even look at this list.
So we've never looked at the list. So
did we decide? Have we done the Phantom Menace?
We did do the Phantom Menace. I think
this
Patrick
came up
Cotner
last
was
time.
On for that.
Yeah, this came up when we had Patrick on last time. But I couldn't remember what we decided, if we done it or not. I don't know.
There is something that I want to do with the guest involving the Phantom Menace, because I definitely want, at some point, I'm going to get a hold of Tony Thaxton, and we're going to do an episode about the beginning. Because
he's on tour at the moment, so it might be hard.
Right. I mean, he's still putting out bizarre albums, so
great.
Maybe.
Okay, cool. Maybe.
Former guest of the show, Tony Thaxton, of Star Wars.
Not of this show. Yeah, I was going to say not of this show. We almost had him
on
early.
He's been on my.
Yeah, we almost had him on early on, but we've not had him on this one.
Right, and then, but it's weird being. I'm on the Star Wars Minute Discord channel.
Okay.
And Pete changed my status to former guest of the show.
Oh, awesome.
And I was so excited because we are now officially we're current guest of the show, but we will
always be
episodes.
Former guests of the show. Yeah.
As of Monday. Yeah. As of Monday at like 12:30 in the morning or something. Yeah. It's so cool. It's so cool. So everybody check out Star Wars Minute at starwarsminute.com and watch our episodes, and then watch Monday's episode, which is from Celebration that James is at.
I was literally just in front of the mic. So where you guys are as my screen right now, I'm about where that is, but the guys were behind the mics. You might be able to hear me laugh if they said anything funny.
They probably did.
Once or twice. Knowing who's on it, knowing who's on that episode.
It's a video episode, right? They got video of it?
They did get some video of it. Yeah, I know that at one point the guy's camera stopped, but I don't know if that affected the video or not. But it should be there. Okay. So, you might see me as well.
Ooh.
And Ed.
Sounds good.
And Rick as well. We were all three of us were like front row. We were right in front of him. It was great.
I don't think I can make it to Tokyo. I really don't.
I mean, I doubt I can, but I'm shooting for it. I'm gonna try.
I'm assuming after that it comes back to Anaheim, maybe Florida.
Definitely stateside. It's gotta be, surely.
I'll do what I can to make it to that.
I mean, yeah, I'll be at that one. We've already decided that by the time there is a next one in the States, we're going for the whole weekend. And hopefully we'll get a panel.
Yeah, it seems tough. It seems like they're curated very specifically.
We'll see. I don't know. I saw some of the numbers in some of the rooms at Celebration Europe, and they didn't look great. I'm not saying that we would have had better, but they didn't look great.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So do us a favor. If you want to see us on stage at Celebration, hit the like button. Tell your friends about Live Action Star Wars. If you're joining us for the first time because of Star Wars Minute, thank you for joining us. Be sure to spread more.
Yeah, hope you like this show as much as that show.
Yeah.
We're here every week. That's it. That'll do it. Yeah, Ralph said all the things. Go follow us. Go do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And until next week, don't give it to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Punch it.